Hello and welcome back to Charlie's House Call Auto Repair. Today we've got a 2004 Chevrolet 2500 four-door crew cab. We're going to be putting new brakes and rotors on the rear end of this truck today. Alright, so let's get right into this. We got 18mm bolts on the pins and 18mm bolts on the brackets. These things are extremely rusty. And yes, I am about to abuse my tools, but it's easier to whack the wrench with the hammer, dent the living daylights out of it, and then cut it off for a crow's foot later on if I need to. But we need to get this caliper off of here. And I don't know if I should want to power tool this or not, or maybe even at least put a ratchet on it. They're moving okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go grab a ratchet. And Bill, if you're still watching, once again, thank you. Oh no, it doesn't fit. Oh well. I'll have to go back and grab that wrench again because I left it over at my truck. Alright, so this fun one, so actually, let me think about this one for a moment. Because this one we can swing this up and out of the way. But I have to be able to get this to move. And I need to back it off, so I'm going to go grab a C-clamp. Get in here with the C-clamp, slide it right into this groove right here, bring the back side of it around. This is a 6-inch C-clamp and it just kind of barely fits. And I'll go ahead and clamp it down. The idea is we're going to push the piston back in just a little bit, which serves several purposes. One, it's going to give us space to get the brake pads up and over the lip of the rotor. It's also going to show us whether or not our slide pin is moving and how willing the piston is to retract. So if in this case moderately light pressure, everything is moving, that tells me that nothing over here is stuck. We're not going to go all the way or very far with it. I'll show you why on that in a few minutes. But the primary objective here is just to push the pistons back enough to give the brake pads the relief they need so that I can lift the caliper up and off of the rotor. And not much more than that. And like I said, we'll see why in a moment. Now we'll go ahead and lift the caliper up as soon as we get that bottom bolt the rest of the way out. Yeah. A little crusty. Have to clean that up. Slide this up like this. I have to roll it in towards the leaf springs a little bit so we don't hurt the hose. And that'll give us an opportunity to get a visual inspection of our piston boots and what we don't have left of our brake pads. And that one is, okay, only the bottom is stuck. That's interesting. And we'll go ahead now and grab that wrench and get this. Oh, there's my wrench. We'll get this the rest of the way out. I hope. Either way, if I can't get this bolt out because of the leaf springs, well, I will always be able to get the bracket off, which I have to take off anyways to get the rotor out of here. Now we got that loosened up enough. Yeah, we can actually get it up and out of here. It's kind of rusty as well. Not too terribly bad like the other one. Yeah, those boots look nice and clean. Well, a little dirty, but I mean they're not scratched or burned or cracked or anything. So we'll set this over here for the moment. Find a safe way of orienting it so it doesn't fall down. And we'll start loosening up the bracket bolts. As you can probably tell by that, they're pretty tight. Ooh, crunchy. Ouch. That one has stuck written all over it. Alright, we're going to put the 18mm impact on that one. And see if we can work a little penetrating oil into it. A little PB blaster, give it about 10 minutes to soak in, and there we go. Okay, let's get to the top one. Be careful about backing your wrench up against something and getting it stuck. Alright, and there's the last bracket bolt. Ooh, the brake pad's a little bit grooved and torn up. We got new hardware put on here as well. Let's get this bracket cleaned up and that rotor off. And we have an axle leak too. Yuck. Well, it's a good thing this is only a parking brake. It's not terrible, but it ain't great either. Let's see what I got here. Ooh, yummy. Yeah. See, now if these were regular service brakes, they'd be complete. Well, actually, technically, they're no good anymore, anyways. But for the purposes of parking brake, we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to leave them there because they're still going to function as a parking brake. But they would never function properly as a regular primary brake. They would just burn and smoke and just, yeah, A lot of problems. Yeah, next thing we want to do is get the rotor face of this hub all cleaned off. And it's kind of oily. I'm going to grab my wire brush and my hub buddy. I'll get in here with the hub buddy and get this cleaned up. So much cleaner when I use the brake cleaner on them. Now, the idea here is not about making this spotless, it's just getting all the rust scale off of it. And then we can spray it down with some fluid film. Just tuck some paper towels behind the hub just so that we don't spray the brakes that are already contaminated. And we're just going to give a light coating where the rotor sits, just so that we don't end up with rust jacking underneath the rotor. Now we'll shift our attention over to the rotor. It still has a machining oil on it to protect it. We got to spray that down. And these rims are pretty much destroyed, but to be somewhat conservative with the brake cleaner, I'll take a cloth, spray the rotor real quick. Don't get this stuff on your rim. This stuff will actually mess up your rim. So I'm going to actually move this before I do get any on the rim. It's already pretty bad. You get your parking brake area clean, and then your surface of your rotor. All that machining oil off of it so it doesn't get contaminating your new brake pads. And we can go ahead and put this on. Get the towel out of here. And we'll give the front face of it one more quick wipe down. Don't worry about the fuzzies that are being left behind. They'll be gone the first time you use the brakes. Now, in the event that your rotor doesn't want to sit flat like this, you can always spin a lug nut on it. Now, the sun's working against me and heading that way. And yeah, well, let's get to the caliper bracket. We're going to take these hardware clips off. They have landings on the back side of them as well. The new ones have that? Actually, yep, the new ones do have that. Okay, so we have a top and a bottom to these. A wide side here on the inside and a narrow side on the outside. Let's get these clips out. This one doesn't want to move. As you guys can see, this is kind of crusty right here. What I like to do, no matter what kind of a brake job I'm doing, take one of the old brake shoes or brake pads, and I'll set it in the bracket, and I'll get an idea of where its contact points are when you're applying the brakes. Like this is an inboard, so look at your contact points and get an idea. They got to slide back and forth on those two pieces that sit here, but where is the actual braking force applied? And it looks like it's right here on this flat edge, so we got to make sure that the landings are perfectly flat and smooth on both sides of this. So I use a polycarbide abrasive wheel on it. There's a lot of scale on this. There's so much scale on this that it's actually three-dimensional. When that happens, tap it with a hammer and it shatters. So I'm going to go grab a chisel and I'm going to knock all of that scale out of there on both sides, and we'll come back and polish it up. Now that we've gotten all of the scale beaten off pretty much all of the bracket, we've got these cleaned up, so we put some anti-seize on these to protect them from rusting back up again. Right now we're going to put some brake cleaner down inside the bores here, and we're going to clean these out. And what I do with this, spray a good amount in there, and then I use my drill with a little brass brush on it, and I go all the way down into the bottom. Same thing on another one. Pump it out. Rinse it out. Sprayed in the face. Before we go grab another can, let's get those pins cleaned off and get them greased and back in here. These pins are quite nasty. And in a case like this, I'll put the pin in the drill, and I'll give it a good spin. So there's one pin ready. get the other pin. Pin, oh, this thing's nasty. Alright. Tiny little bit of grease on the very, very bottom of it. And by the way, this is 400 grit sandpaper. Just a little bit more. And now we are pretty much ready to start the reassembly. So we're going to grab the anti-seize. I'm running low on. And we're going to coat all of this metal surface right here that those new hardware abutment clips are going to be going onto. You don't want the rust to build up underneath it and spread them out, locking the brake pads, which they will do in the salt belt. This isn't like an arts and crafts class where it has to be perfect, but you want to make sure that there is no exposed metal underneath this clip or in contact with the clip. I'm going to give it a little bit right here in the middle just for the heck of it, and repeat the same thing on this other side. Make sure to get the flat landings back here. The clips are also going to be in contact with. A big old chunk of rust scale right here that I missed, but that doesn't come in contact with anything, so we don't need to worry about it. Alright. Now that we've got, oops, gotta get the front edge taken care of yet. Kind of low on this. Alright, now we'll get those little metal clips. Two for each side. So we need to pull out all four. Make sure we get the matched pairs here. Okay, like those two were exactly the same. These two were exactly the same, but they're obviously opposites. One for this side, one pair for this side, one pair for the other side. And the short one goes like that, I think. Come on. There we go. Apparently these ones back here just kind of hold it in place, but don't really really serve much other purpose. Alright. Now we're going to put some Siliglide on the pins. We're going to put the pins in for the moment just to work them around a little bit. Just a little bit more. Now, slide this down in. Same thing with the other one. There's something stuck in the bottom of this bore. Tin man myself here, and we're going to grab the bracket bolts and we're going to attach the bracket back on. And we can grease these after this is back on, I guess. Let's get the grease. Take our little grease brush, tub of grease. Also in need of replenishment. Get this thing opened up. And we're going to basically just paint this part here. Let's not get any of this on the rotor. And basically all of the areas the brake pads are going to be coming into contact with on this little bracket. Same thing with the top one. Inside the edge here. Again, careful not to get the rotor. And now we'll grab the brake pads. All four of them out of here. They do appear to be paired up, but don't let that fool you. In this particular case, there is a difference. And here's your difference. Squealer on this side, squealer on this side. These have squealers on both. So you're going to need to take note. One goes to this side, one goes to the other side. And let's get this figured out now. Alright, I believe by looking at the old brake pads, the double squealers are on the inboard. So we're going to attempt that. And we're just going to put a light coat of grease on the brake pads where they make contact with the hardware clip. Only on the part that makes contact with that hardware clip. Now we're going to try to put this brake pad in. Alright, nice easy movement. Alright, so we're not hitting anything. Not binding against anything. We're good. Same thing with the outboard pad. Grease in the groove, grease in the bottom of the ear. And slide that brake pad in. So that moves nice and easy down there. Pin it here, slide it in and out here. Alright, we are good. Everybody moves nice and easy now. We're going to grab a toothbrush and brake cleaner. We're going to clean up the boots. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the brake cleaner and we're just going to spray. I need another can. Now, the idea here is clean up the piston, the face of the piston, the boot, all around the boot, underneath the boot. As much of whatever is on it off of it as you can. As soon as that's dry, we'll put a little bit of anti-seize on this surface here and on the pistons. I'm going to push the pistons back in first. There's a special tool for that. There's a dual piston caliper push back tool. Basically it just hooks right in here. Works just like a caulking gun. It allows you to push your pistons back. Double check while you're pushing these in that your boots are not bubbling and popping out on you. And when your pistons are all the way down, release the tool. Anti-seize the ears and the pistons. The purpose of doing this is to cut down any potential chatter and squealing noises. That's all it's for. You don't have to do this, but like I said, if you get squeals or chattering noises, this will help to prevent that from happening. And in a lot of cases even potentially deaden the sound a little bit for you. Surface of this piston is just a little yucky. Alright. Now we roll the caliper back around. And what we're going to do in this case is we're going to take this top bolt, top pin, we're going to put the top pin in, thread it in a little bit. We're not. Try to figure out how I'm going to do this. Bring the caliper down. Yep, there we go. Guide the bolt in. Now we can start screwing the bolt in. Get the lower bolt in. Where is the lower bolt? The lower bolt is still in there. Okay. Push the boot down underneath the caliper. And get those tightened down. These don't have to be all too critically tight, but the caliper bracket bolts, they need to be torqued down. side's done, we can go ahead and put the wheel back on. That's how you do the back brakes on your 2004 Chevy 2500 four-wheel drive crew cab pickup. So if you guys like that one, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for upcoming videos, and don't forget, you got no more excuses. Pick up those wrenches. Hello and welcome back to Charlie's House Call Auto Repair. Today we've got a 2004 Chevrolet. We're in here for a brake job.